Um, Excuse me. Hello? I'm sorry to bother you, only you've been camping here for several weeks now, and you've spent a significant portion of that time kneeling in front of my tree. I do not mean to be presumptuous, but were you trying to get my attention? Yes, I am Aniketos. How do you know my name? Another traveler? Wounded in battle, oh yes. I remember. I took them into my tree and nursed them back to health. They were meant to be... No, that's not anything you need to concern yourself with. You know my name, but you've not told me yours. Ah, a good name and well met. So, is there something I can do for you? What? You want me to cook for you? Well, no, I don't mind. But do you understand fully what that would mean for you? I cannot prepare food in the mortal plane. You would need to enter my tree in order to eat. And time, at least for you, passes much differently in the Fey realm. Our worlds resonate at different frequencies, you see. When I am in the mortal world, I reverberate. It's as if there were 3 of me sharing one body. Other Fey resonate differently. Brownies, for example, are invisible in your world unless they forcibly alter their frequency. But when a human, you are human, yes? When a human enters the Fey, your 4th dimension, time, and the dimension of time in my realm cancel each other out in many places. The null areas collapse. For all intents and purposes, you cease to exist for those cancelled segments, not in any way that you notice. An hour passes in my tree, and you experience 1 hour. In your plane, however, months or even years may pass, depending on minute fluctuations in your personal frequency. This is all a way of telling you that while I welcome you into my tree, should you join me for a meal, you would lose scores, possibly hundreds of years in this world. Everyone you know would be old, possibly dead when you returned. You have no one to lose? That is a far greater tragedy. Very well, you may enter. However, I must ask that you leave your weapons here. I'm afraid I cannot promise that they will be here when you return, but I must insist. Are we agreed? Excellent. Then take my hand and step. And welcome to my home. Oh, the previous traveler came here in late spring. The decor is much different that time of year. Yes, that is a real fire in the fireplace. You will notice there is no fuel. The fire is magical. While it would consume anyone who climbed into the fireplace, the fire will not leave that area, nor will it catch anything outside its area aflame. Please, feel free to remove your boots and relax in one of the chairs beside the fire. Don't mind the raccoon. He is content to sleep away the winters here. Just do not attempt to use him as a footstool. 1 or more squirrels may visit while you're here. Take anything they offer you, but do not put anything in your pockets in front of them. unless you want squirrels diving into your clothes. There is a bowl of nuts on the table there. Offer it to them if they become bothersome to you. Here, I will hang your cloak for you. You get comfortable. What's this? You are soaked through. You must be half frozen. You go right now around that corner there. You will find a small room lit by candles with many short branches protruding from the walls and a selection of cotton robes in an alcove. Get out of those wet clothes and select a robe. I will pour you some vanilla plum cider. Your clothes? Hang them on any of the branches to dry. There are slippers too if you want them, but you needn't wear them on my account. I never cover my feet inside my tree. Yes, that is juniper you smell, along with pine, sandalwood, and lily. I'm glad you like it. Remind me before you leave and I'll give you one of the sachets to take with you. Ah, there you are. A fine choice of robe. The design on the chest and the cuffs is indicative of the region in which the robe was made. A bit like human heraldry or the banners of the orc war matrons. Each design is woven by the mulberry dryads who collect the silk from their own and nearby trees. I cannot be certain, but I think the regional borders of this forest, at least those of the Fae, may have originally been drawn so that each region contained at least one mulberry dryad. I have traded for robes from all but 2 of the regions in the Great Forest. One refuses to allow anyone not of that region to own, let alone wear their robes. And the other was separated from the Great Forest by a violent human settlement. Trade cannot resume until those humans are driven off and the land reforested. Oh, but these are not your problems, and certainly nothing to be concerned about at this time. Here, your cider. That should warm you quickly. The cider is a mixture of pear, apple, and plum, mulled in a mixture of cloves, cinnamon, nutmeg, and cardamom. You will find raisins, pieces of apple and ginger along with cloves and peppercorns. And here is a small plate of... Yes, they do look like small twigs, don't they? These are pepper cakes. An odd name as they are not cakes, but cookies. They are made of wheat, ginger, pepper, and just the tiniest bit of black star. Not enough to affect your mind, but enough to make your senses tingle. They can be a bit hard. I recommend stirring your cider with them until they soften. Now, while you drink that and warm up, I will tell you what I'm preparing tonight. It is a special night tonight. One of these dishes I only prepare once every 8 years, and never before for myself. But first, the soup. As you hopefully already know, I do not use animals or animal products in any of my cooking. However, many have wondered about this soup. The broth is mostly onion and gourd seasoned with garlic, pepper, salt, and barrowroot, mashed and strained to be flavorful but not cloudy. Into this go sizable pieces of carrot, celery, and a face squash that tastes much like your butternut squash, but is much firmer and holds together in the soup. The trick is to cook them just long enough that they come apart easily when bitten, but not so long that they fall apart in the bowl. Luckily, I have had time and practice enough to get it just right. The final ingredient, and the one that fools so many into thinking they are eating meat, is dumplings. The pastry is made using rye flour and the oil from crushed walnuts. The sap of a tree that only exists in the Fey realm works like the milk of your world, though it has an earthy, floral scent that your milk lacks. It uses a filling of finely minced mushrooms fried in pumpkin oil and spiced with nutmeg, fennel, hot pepper, and black pepper. This is mixed with tomato and celery, pressed into the pastry, and boiled in the soup. The next course is a salad. Most of my dishes use ingredients from the mortal realm. Despite the nature of the Fae, there is simply more variety on your plane. However, this salad is made entirely from plants found only in the Fae. It begins with a base of magus reed, a lake plant that grows almost entirely underwater. They carry a deadly poison and are only safe when the reed breaches the surface and flowers. The poison collects in the flower, attracting insects with its sweet scent. If the flower is cut carefully enough with a sharp blade by a skilled hand, no poison will leak back into the reed. Once the flower is removed, the reed is harvested and boiled in the very milk sap that is used to make the dumplings for the soup. Once boiled, the reeds separate into long fibers, similar to noodles but with a rich tang. Atop this is ladled a thick sauce comprised of crushed, stewed chokhorn, a buttery tuber with just the right amount of sweetness to balance the sour magus reed. I season the chokhorn with just a bit of pepper and salt. Some use half a dozen spices, but I've never felt it necessary. Now over here, I have a bowl of chopped vegetables. Goat horn, not unlike your carrot, and witchwood, the edible seed shell of the Romulus tree. It is pungent, earthy, and really rounds out the dish. The vegetables are added atop the reeds, or to the side if you prefer, right before the sauce is added. This dish is best eaten quickly. Within minutes of adding the sauce, the entire dish begins to break down. It remains flavorful, but the consistency becomes a kind of watery paste. You know, now that I think about it, that might not be bad. Perhaps allowing the dish to turn, it could be poured over rice. My apologies, that is an experiment for another time. How is your cider? You'd like another? Absolutely. There you are. I see you still have enough pepper cakes. If you would prefer something sweeter, here is a tray of moondrops. These confections begin with an almond. Around each almond is packed a ball of whipped varkant beans that are further sweetened by river bee honey. A good question. Certainly, using honey from the honeybee would violate my conviction not to make food using animal products. The spirit of my vow is to preserve for each animal that which they use for themselves. That means no meat, obviously, and no eggs or milk. Hive honey is also forbidden as bees use it for food themselves. River bees, however, do not eat their honey or use it in any way. They eat smaller river insects. Producing honey seems to serve them no purpose. It is a waste product they leave hanging far away from their hives on the underside of tree branches, cave mouths, and, if they are erected the right distance from the hive, an archway created expressly for the purpose. The Fae have watched for years to ensure the honey serves no purpose to the river bee. So in using river bee honey, I am taking nothing away from the creature. Where was I? Oh yes, the Varkant and honey-covered almonds are then rolled in one of 4 mixtures to represent your 4 moons. They have names and legends for you, but to the Fae they are simply beautiful orbs hanging in the sky. For your red moon, I roll the ball in a mixture of crushed almonds, oats, and bits of cherry all soaked in cherry juice. I then dust it with ground cocoa. The blue-green moon is a wash made from peppermint oil, minced pine nut, and dried ground borage petals. Mixed with a small amount of water, this is brushed over the ball, delicate but potent. The white moon is a mixture of honey infused with orange blossoms, which of course makes the ball both sticky and fragrant. The ball is then rolled in a bowl of elderflower petals. The smell, while beautiful, can be dizzying, so take care how quickly you eat it. Finally, the mixture for your black moon is powdered black trumpet mushroom and crystallized fesquart, an unpleasant name for a button-like fungus that grows on trees and becomes quite sweet after absorbing sap from a tree for several years. The buttons are harvested, crushed, and then boiled in water. As the liquid cools, it forms into glittering black sand-like crystals. See how the ball catches the light and sparkles like black snow? Please, eat as much as you like, but if I may act as advisor, I would not eat more than 1 of each at this time. They're strong flavors, and they may overpower your senses and prevent you from tasting the subtleties of the dishes to come. After the salad, we have the main course. And if you have been wondering up to this point, where is all the magic? Well, the answer is here. This long bowl is actually half of a vision gourd. To my knowledge, these exist only in the Fae realm. The greatest artists of the Fae compete once every 8 years for the honor of tending the dream gardens where the gourds are grown. Dream gourds take 8 years from seed to harvest. They cannot be bought for any price, not from the gardens at any rate. The gourds themselves choose their recipients. No, they are not sentient, but the magic with which they are infused reaches out and connects to the minds of the chosen. This harvest, I was one of the lucky recipients. Tending the gardens is so coveted by artists because as the gourds grow, they absorb and release dream energy, generating inspiration, focusing creative energies, and dissolving creative blocks. The gourds themselves, once fully ripened, immerse those who eat them in an amazing and completely realistic dream world. There is no way to know beforehand what manner of world each gourd will create, though I'm told that multiple people eating of the same gourd will experience the same world. The dream lasts only a few hours and comes on about half an hour after eating, but the participants will experience full and blessed lives in that time. During the dream, they do not remember this life, but upon waking, they can recall the dream in perfect detail. I have never eaten a dream gourd myself, so to receive one has me quite excited for this dinner. I have invited several friends who will be joining us. They will arrive shortly, no doubt with treats and gifts to share. Oh, no, you are my guest. You are welcome here. My friends will not object to your presence, and they always bring extra extra gifts in case I have any unexpected guests. To put it another way, they are bringing presents specifically for you. You needn't worry. Nobody expects gifts from you. You are already sacrificing so much just to be here. After we awaken from the dream, we will all be very interested to hear your perspective over dessert. As a mortal, you are certain to have a different outlook on the experience. How the gourd is prepared does not affect the dream world. One could eat it raw if they chose, but I have chosen to roast it instead, with potatoes, carrots, corn, and beets. The spices I used are numerous, subtle, and one of my rare secrets. You will undoubtedly guess some of them, but I would be greatly surprised if you could name even half of the spices I use. They provide a deep, earthy undertone to the dish, as well as smoky highlights. Fair warning, I've not eaten this gourd before, so I am guessing the flavor based entirely off the smell of the gourd in its raw state. Once roasted, I split the vegetables into 2 portions. The larger portion I boiled until it broke down into a thick porridge-like consistency. Just before we begin eating, I will add the first portion back to the porridge, along with seasoned bread pieces and black beans I've been preparing since yesterday. After we awaken from the dream, we will share a pudding made of rice, milksap, honey, and raisins. After the pudding, we drink and exchange gifts. I have prepared a special beverage made with cocoa and peppermint, but Soldegand usually brings with him an assortment of wines, ales, and mead if you prefer that. The evening usually ends with us asleep in front of the fire. I would invite you to stay the night, but the longer you remain in the Fey realm, the more your resonance will be cancelled out by ours, meaning that time will pass faster and faster in your world, and the less you will exist. Eventually you would be completely erased. However, you may safely stay for 1 drink before leaving. And upon your return to your realm, you will have gifts, memories of an entire second life lived, and I will give you a bag of moondrops to take with you. I trust you are warm and dry? Excellent. Now, I sense the others approaching. You need not stand. Alora will likely take a seat beside you before you even get to your feet. For my guests, this is a day of relaxation, laughter, friendship, and food, to which you are most welcome.